Now, I would like to welcome everyone into the last technical session, wherein Dr. Selja Vasudeva, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, SCVB Government Degree College, Palampur, District Kangra, Himachal Pradesh, India, would address you. Dr. Salja Vasudeva, Assistant Professor, Department of Political Science, SCVB, the Government Degree College, Palampur, District Kangra, Himachal Pradesh, India. Her academic qualification is MPhil, PhD, Political Science, NET thrice qualified, and departmental exams also qualified. She has a teaching experience of more than 15 years. She has also been a PhD mentor. She has also published a book. 11 of her papers has been published in the national and international journals. She has attended more than 35 national and international workshops, conferences, seminars, and also presented several papers. Currently, she is performing a member of the Faculty of Social Science, Himachal Pradesh University, India. Dr.
Thank
Shelja
you.
Vasudeva,
Thank you
over
so
to you,
much,
ma'am.
Vishal
You
Kumar
can
sir.
proceed the presentation.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
so much, Vishal Kumar sir.
Oh,
I welcome to
thank you,
all in
ma'am.
this session of International Virtual Conference. I would like to share some information regarding this session with you all. In this session, we have five paper presentations. Each paper presenter will be given 10 to 12 minutes. So we have a lot to cover in this session. So we really should begin. So I would like to invite Vikram Singh Bandoria to present the paper on the topic social and cultural problems faced by LGBT people in this society, a comparative study with special focus to India. Over to you, Vikram sir.
Hello, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Good evening. Myself, Vikram Singh Bhadoria. I am research scholar in Guru Ghasida Central University. I will present my paper. Just wait.
Yes, you can start, Vikram sir.
Okay, just wait. Actually, I'm. May I read it directly
Yes, you
if
can.
you allow? Okay, ma'am.
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
My topic is social and cultural problem faced by LGBT people in the society, a comparative study with special focus to India. The I will talk about the transgender and the problem they faced in their culture and societal perspective. Then the term transgender and bisexual individual face greater threats of intolerance and cruelty because of their sexual orientation than those who identify as heterosexual. Homosexuality is illegal in some countries and carries the penalties of fines, imprisonment, life imprisonment, and the death penalty also. Although many social systems had taken important steps to promote fundamental freedom in the struggle for LGBT rights, they have gained widespread recognition also. The fact that sexual orientation is not explicitly included in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights drafted in 1948 may allow some groups to explicitly recognize LGBT rights as such. More and more people are now declaring their sexual orientation directly. As a result of this work, the Assembly and its partner awareness of LGBT rights that is developing worldwide, and individual government are enforcing LGBT rights also. The key challenges for global LGBT rights include the eradication of sexual violence legislation, guarantees against equal rights and benefit, and the discrimination they have to face, like the education in the education sector, downtrodden child labor, prostitution, and uh, forced labor and unwanted attention hatred. This is the major problem they face. People give unwanted hatred attention to the transgender in the public also. They try to create the scene while insulting, punishing, abusing, and cursing them. And rejection of entry, one of the other problem faced. They are rejected to get entry religious places, also public places like hotel, restaurant, theaters, park, etc. And the lack of education facilities. Like normal people, they are not entitled to take education in the school and colleges. Even in terms of education, they are treated differently. And human trafficking, transgender being belongs to the most neglected group. Social exclusion in the society, the major problem in the whole process, it is that they are socially excluded from the society. And the downtrodden, these people are treated badly or oppressed by people in power. They are prone to struggle for social justice because of their identity as transgender. They are somehow not recognized by the government authorities also. And acceptance of transgender LGBT over the world. In a survey conducted by the European Union, about 88% of the Spanish were in the favor of acknowledging homosexuality, and 87% in Germany, 77% in France can accept homosexuality, while Kenya and Nigeria have high awareness of LGBT people. Canada has also very convincing result, with about 80% of the population agree to recognize LGBT group. However, these odds are less positive when there are causes in the US where only 60% of the population admit that homosexuality should be recognized. In Asia Pacific, where homosexuality is considered a negative localization, 79% of Australian and 70% of Philippines, where Japan has only 54% of recognition of homosexuality. About 97% of Jordan population said homosexuality should be banned. Similarly, in China and Korea, many people are not accepting homosexuality in normal society, and they have to face workplace discrimination for the in the in, transgender people continue to face prejudice and deprivation, segregation of LGBT people in the work environment, and it is a major factor in difference in financial status of the LGBT people. Homosexual and transgender people are greatly affected by the financial imbalance caused by the inevitable isolation of their work environment. Separation directly leads to the job insecurity, higher insecurity leading to their higher employment rate, loss of need for gays and transgender. Understanding the importance of the LGBT profession in the workplace began with the recognition that a diverse and broad range of business environment are directly related to the improving business performance. With the changing legal landscape in India also around the world, organizations have legitimate reason to address LGBT issues in the workplace also. And the homelessness among the LGBT people. Many of the problems faced by the LGBT people are the lack of the housing and administration to the meet their special need also. It is estimated that the 40% of the poor living in the Indian identify themselves as LGBT. They live in the ground that they have been kicked out of their home for strange things, for run away to avoid harmful situation. Transgender people can't choose to have more open sexual orientation for living in asylum system. Abuse and incitement of LGBT stroller is not regulated within the system of asylum. The most aggressive behavior in domestic employer does not recognize gay or transgender people. Also, no major action taken on dis, uh, discriminatory condition. Poor and LGBT youth lack financial support and regularly engage in drug use and risky sexual activity, often contributing their psychological well-being. And the one of the major problem faced by them is psychological problem among the LGBT individual. LGBT people face significant amount of contempt, isolation, provocation in their daily life. A major part of the LGBT people are curious about how to adapt, especially when they have relative and are interested in LGBT association and informal organization. Numerous LGBT individuals, especially young LGBT, have to adapt to the littering segregation ladder without assistance. Many also face additional pressure such as homophobic level of torture at school and physical and unpleasant threats. It is more difficult for LGBT people to live in the countryside. Urban communities are very useful, allowing LGBT people to choose the aspect of life they want to live and work with. A survey conducted in 2016, aged 15 to 34 in 19 states, led by Shillong, found that 24% of young people supported or had some degree of same-sex contact. Yeah. I will be concluded with the fact that it has been observed that the study that LGBT people of radically different sexual orientation regularly face barriers to isolation, social rejection, and problem. This avoidance and isolation from the mildest personal relationship can lead to the social forgetfulness, exclusion, inhabitation, and even abuse of life privilege when working together. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender have been involved in racial and financial injustice for some time. Today, LGBT supporters are progressively linked between the advancement of LGBT rights and monetary and racial equality. Given that the individuals are diverse and stratified and at the same time facing advantage and persecution. The many references I have taken from the some of the author of the Rukmani homosexuality in India, the data showed that, and the other one is Subrohit problem faced by LGBT people in the mainstream society, and the study of Khan S. and Gallo out for the change of racial and economic justice. So that's all about the short glimpse of the paper which I presented there.
Wonderful paper, Vikram sir. Now I open the house for discussion. If anybody has question for the speaker, then you can ask. Oh,
This is the my
great.
research area
Okay.
also, my researching on the
Okay.
legal and health aspect for the transgender.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, sir, for bringing transgender issue to us on this platform. And I would like to congratulate you. You have beautifully discussed about social and cultural problems faced by LGBT people in the society. Thank you so much. Congratulations, sir. The next paper presenters are TV Balakrishnan, research scholar, School of Computer Science, TNOU, Chennai, India, and R. Kalai Arasi, Assistant Professor, School of Computer Science, TNOU, Chennai, India. And the topic is Digital Culture, a New Normal for Society Improvement. So, hand it over to you, Balakrishnan, sir.
Can you please hear me?
Yes, you are audible, sir. You are audible.
Just I'm waiting for somebody's confirmation so I can get in.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
You
with a
can start,
due
sir.
respect to the chairperson of this evening session and best wishes to all the participants, I'm just getting into my subject of digital culture. So culture for a society, culture is very important, and the longer time and strict practices turned out to be a culture for a society, for an individual. We call it as a habit, but for a society, it's a culture. Now, more and more digital kind of a culture is getting into society, and thereby there could be n number of vibration changes, dynamism happening in our society. My paper focus on such a digital culture, how it gets rooted, and how the government's digital mission is also linked to it. That we call it as a new normal. Probably we are all in pandemic situation where the lockdown position happens, but still life has to survive. So social distancing, all these pandemic notes are there, but still we are going with our day-to-day activities the best way or reasonably good way. That we call it as a new normal. And once these practices get into a culture and we started doing it, probably we may continue with the existing one, which is giving a minimum disturbance, maximum benefit to us. That way, the topic of digital culture, a new normal for the society improvement is here. This is co-authored with my guide or Kalai Chelvi, sorry, Kalai Arasi. Here, then I'm getting into the discussion. So first, we are all aware that the digital culture is the adoption of the technology in the way of life by the human. It may be in the office, or it may be for the business, or it may be for the individual capacity. Why the technology is taken? Technology is, it is growing well and well, and more kind of additional component technological feasibilities it is bringing. It is giving seamlessly integration happening across the different technologies. That is possible. So the internet culture we talk today, because internet is the backbone that gives use for many of the things, thereby the networking happening in terms of communication, entertainment, business, or recreation, gaming, social media. You take any vertical, you can find that internet is the backbone. Today we are all also getting connected through this network only through the internet. Today, the major part why this net culture or digital culture is coming, because technology is available and it is affordable. Available means it is getting to everybody can use it, irrespective of the level of the citizenship here. People can use. Affordability means it is very cheaper because of the competition, because of the more people accessing, naturally the price goes down. Then accessibility, there is no restriction, anybody can access the internet. So this is the main advantage, how the internet culture is getting groomed here, and it is steeply increasing. Now, when we talk about these generations are taking up, the younger-most generation or younger generation, what we talked about, they are all already there. Now the education is going on online, and even like our session, all these professional forums, all these business meetings, everything is online. So the adoptiveness today, the digital culture is going faster. When we talk about the digital culture in the highest level, but still there are components which has to be transformed to the digital form, that we call it as a digital transformation. We use a lot of disruptive and incremental changes. When you use the disruptive technology, there's a confusion. What does it mean? The thing is that when any of the existing technology is replaced by another technology, giving more benefit to that, then we call it as a disruptive. Like a typewriter is moved out, now computer is in. When the mobiles are here, camera is out, watches are out. So slowly the new technology is coming. Those technologies called disruptive technologies. The digital transformation is making to happen, and this is very faster, sustainable, scalable. So there are these advantages which is making it to retain. Today, self-standing mission of the government is very, very important. That is what it is insisted in on every government vertical, ministry vertical, whether it is a private or public, everywhere they get into the Digital India programs, and they want to bring everything under digital mission. So this is the ICT is helping, and we are in the digital transformation faster. With this introduction, let me get into what exactly my paper is going to talk about. This is the digital culture, and we know that the culture is going fast. So I placed my paper as a new normal under which I want to deal with what is the importance, how it is to be explored, and what are the advantages and what are all the challenges. Let me in a high level, because of the time constraint and all, I'm going to explain in the very high level here. My paper might be dealing with the details. So digitization importance, the most probably we'll be using digitization. What does it mean? Digitization, what does it mean? Basically it takes that there is information. I want to record the information, the magnetic media with zeros and ones. So does it stop? No, definitely. Whenever we want to pull it out, the zeros and ones should come in the same form, what we just give us the information. It may be a text, it may be image, it may be voice or audio, anything for that matter. That is what the process of digitization we call it. But when we talk about the digital culture, does it mean that what we talk, what we use in today can be taken to digitization? No. When we talk about the culture, culture has got a tradition. Culture has a lot of heritages. When you talk about, there are any number of objects. When you use the object, it is a very high level term. See, when you go to the museum, you have a lot of items there. And when you read old literature books, they're all in paper. So when I talk about this digital culture coming in, so what is most important is the digitization of the existing legacy object to be taken to the digital form, so that it can be present for a longer generation, as well as usability can be increased. That is what we call it as a digital root. So our Digital India mission has got the inclusiveness. We cannot say disclaimer, no, this part we will not take, this part. No, it is not. Digital India is bring any technology. Inclusiveness is the one of the item that. So that way the digitization coming to the importance to the private, public as well as government sectors. Digital culture is evolving, and as I already told you, the disruptive technologies, it is coming into the individual level as well as the business life. So the digital transformation, we want to make it, if the transformation want to lead lot of changes happening in the business way, or the way we live today, those things are not doing it. Earlier, when we want to book the ticket, we will be running to the counter in a very time sliced manner. Today we don't do it. I mean, we have a time, we can from sitting at your home, we can do that. So that way the business rules are also getting changed, and bottom of the deliveries are very faster. The moment you book the train ticket, gradually in the SMS or in the email, you get the copy of it. So that is the way things are changing out. So digitization is very important, because we started creeping out the benefit for individual. The most important is technology is not age sensitive. A 60% man will not say that I will not take the technology, even he carries mobile today. So that way the technology makes is very closeliness irrespective of the age, and all innovations are also absorbed by all the generation. That is the plus point of it. With this, I'm just getting into the digital exploration, how this culture is getting groomed, or it is going to address its roadmap. So the exploration part left side, I have put that these are all the ways it has to go. First, digitization. What is the strength? What is this plus point? What is the best thing that digitization is going to bring? That is to be analyzed, because industry, vertical to vertical, artifact to artifact, information to information, things are different. So we cannot have the same technology or same way of implementation for all these verticals. So we need to understand what is the, we need to evaluate the digitization strength, then evaluate with respect to the technology we are using for it, then transform them so that enablement comes. When they enable to the users, then naturally literacy is needed. How to make them to understand, use it to the greater success. Then comes, when technology comes, always the risk is also there, the hacker, all this kind of a risk is there. How to address this is one part of it. Then all this data is already available. So what is the best part is, let me use all the data to find it out what is the next level I got to bring. That way, because digital culture will not happen in a day, or it has to move through the phases. Every phase will be the higher level of going that should be done by the usage analytics. That is the way, that is what we are doing. I'm just giving some highlight of it. When you talk about the digital strength, the capability and capacity is needed. Capability is what I can do. Capacity is in that particular thing, how much I can do. That is the capability and capacity. So stability and consumability should be read. And the delivery quality is the part. These are all what I'm going to do with the digitization. Then I'll have to identify the technology. In the technology also, we expandable. Now, one technology will not work. Even the mails, when you are opening the mobile, it is not a single technology. Mailbox is one technology. Delivering the message and opening with another, like a Word, like a PDF. Those are all different technologies. And your mobile is yet another technology. So these are all the fusion happening. So the expandability, openness for the integration, these to be evolved. And data will be going, the volume, velocity, veracity, and variety and veracity, because the volume is, day by day data is growing. Velocity, it is very faster. Within a second, you get a lot of data, like your WhatsApp, how much you are getting.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. I'm sorry. We have reached the end of your time slot. So please, sir.
Yeah, I'll fasten. So digital transformation enablement, we'll have to find out the process of converting this. Then the literacy promotion is essential. So people need to understand how to use, and evaluation risk, we need to do that. Then the analytic will be taking to the next. So coming to the advantages, yes, advantages, everybody knows it. It is not, I'm talking about the technology at all, it is a digital culture advancement, because there is discipline coming in, and your data is going to drive you. And everybody started using that way, the increased customer base coming into the picture, and total market innovation, because market is open and the people users are also open to it. That way there is a word called digital fluency comes in, then that empowers our digital culture. So does it mean that digital culture will not have the hard rocks? Yes, definitely it does. So the hard rocks is, as I already told you, challenges are different to the industry to industry, and when you align to the technology, same happen. Complexity and integration is one, and data driven data growth, how to handle it. And when you come to the implementation, probably the time you decide, the time you implement, things would have changed, technology would have changed, because of fast short technology lifetime. And the risk aspect, that is threatening people to take or not. E-waste is another one which is to be done. Then the most one is mindset. Many people, why should I? That is a mindset. So why should not you? That mindset should be, that is the major challenge as an individual, even in the business work it happens. So that is the challenge. Coming to a conclusion, very small way, it is a global phenomena. We cannot avoid it now. So the firms are agile towards, all companies, all business people, they are all towards it. And ICT has already brought a lot of affordable components here. And coming to the government, it is not that somebody will do, government will wait. No, government has got a lot of schemes, they have that public private partnership. That way the geo has come, and it is a lot of things happening across. And education is the biggest side of it. Until or other, if we don't do it, I mean, we do a lot of things and usability is less, it won't happen. So this is not done by some extra somebody else do. It is everybody's responsibility they have to do. With this conclusion, I have used the below said references in my paper. So with this, I am coming to a conclusion. Ma'am, after taking this QA, probably the stage is back to you, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
now I open the house for discussion. If anybody has question, you can ask. Oh, great. Nobody is ready to ask a question. It shows our paper presenters are successful to clear the concepts. So I would like to appreciate the views of digital culture shared by TV Balakrishnan sir. I must say, wonderful presentation. Congratulations, sir. Now, the next paper presenter, Mamta Abrol ma'am, her title of the paper is Postmodernism and Use of Contemporary Narrative Technique in the Literature. Over to you, Mamta Abrol ma'am. Yes, Mamta Abrol ma'am, you are present?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Now, my research paper is focused on postmodernism and use of contemporary narrative technique in literature. Firstly, I introduce what is postmodernism. Postmodern literature is a kind of literature characterized by dependence on such lateral conferences as fragmentation, paradoxes, unreliable narrators, plots, games, humor, authentic self reference, which are frequently unrealistic and totally unrealized. The limits between high and low art and literature are also frequently rejected by postmodern literature, as well as by the differentiation of genres by writing and narrative telling. Postmodern literature is part of the evolution of socio-culture history and may be regarded as a particular method to portray the postmodern world and culture. It indicates a problem in the identification and legitimization of the human in a hypocritical society. This subject was dealt with by others, but was much
Is on Keralite culture. Congratulations, sir. Many congratulations. Now, our last paper presenter of the session is Nisha Nazar ma'am, BA English Language and Literature, MGM College of Arts and Science, Trivandrum, Kerala. Her title of the paper is Antisocial Personality Disorder, Psychological Condition with Film References. Hand it over to you, Nisha Nazar ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for introducing me. Let me share my screen right now.
Yes, yes, you can start.
Is it audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
it's visible.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, all, respected chairperson, and all my listeners. I hope you all safe there. I'm Nisha Nazar, semester 5 BA English student of MGM College of Arts and Science, Trivandrum, and it's the capital of Kerala. First of all, I want to thank the Cape Common Trust for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present my paper on this international virtual conference. It's actually a good initiation taken up during this pandemic. Now, let me move on to my presentation. I'm here to discuss about the topic antisocial personality disorder, a psychological condition. Let's have a healthy discussion about it. Before moving on to antisocial, let me give a basic definition for what is a behavior or a personality. According to the psychological definition, behavior is an organism's activities in response to external or internal stimuli, including objectively observable character and non-conscious process. In a simple way, we can define is that behavior is a way in which one acts or conducts oneself, especially towards others. And next is that what is antisocial personality disorder? Antisocial personality disorder is a condition in which people show a pervasive disregard for the law and rights of others. People with ASPD may tend to lie or steal, often fail to fulfill the job or parenting responsibilities. The terms sociopath or psychopath are sometimes used to describe a person with antisocial personality disorder. ASPD is a chronic condition and represents one of the most difficult personalities disorders to treat. However, psychotherapy and some medications may help alleviate symptoms. In many cases, the symptoms of antisocial personality disorder decrease as a person reaches middle age. And we have several causes and symptoms or sorry factors responsible for the ASPD. We have environmental factors, biological factors, as you see on the screen, genetical factors and all. Biological factors are people with ASPD have usual levels of serotonin. Serotonin means is a chemical that in the brain regulates our mood and feelings of happiness. Environmental factors means a trauma or abuse early in the childhood increases the risk of developing ASPD, and genetical factors are both adopted and biological children of parents with ASPD have the increased risk of developing the disorder. And lifestyles and gender and all are responsible factors for ASPD. There are several symptoms and signs which the disordered persons that shows us they will be always physically aggressive, behave recklessly, blame others for their problems, break the law, destroy the property. They always manipulate or deceive others, show no remorse for their harmful actions. And from this graph, we can understand that we could understand from the graphical representation that ASPD is likely to be more than any other personality disorder, such as which is shown in this screen as bipolar disorder or depressive disorders or mood disorders. From this all, ASPD is having the more reach in persons, and from the graph is clear that men are more likely to have ASPD than women. Now, let's move on to the subtopic of the presentation is that psychopaths, sorry, okay. Psychopaths, an unrevealed case in the area of Indian judicial system. The offenders who are accused of horrendous crimes when under the influence of mental disorders should be first identified for mental disease by a competent psychologist. There are a lot of variants of mental diseases, however, unfortunately, they are generally categorized as same. They are serious to recognize and classify them properly. And many cases in India have been reported about serial killers, mental illness, incest, and other sexual and violent crimes, but no case has been reported as committed by the psychopaths. Psychopathy is a dangerous mental ailment which is unrevealed in Indian judicial system. There is an urgent need to identify and classify each mental disease and take necessary steps in all these. And in UK and US, separate statutes have been made for the psychopaths. There should be a proper recognition of psychopaths in India also, due to the severity of the disease and increasing incidence of crimes in India. And in the next slide, we can see that antisocial serial killers and crimes in India, that is Otto Shangar. Shangar and his gang were found guilty of 6 murders committed over a period of 2 years. And one of the famous high-profile criminal from India is Charles Shobraj. And he was very much famous from India because of his constant quest for adventure and high society lifestyle. He served a rather comfortable, if luxurious, jail term in the notoriously corrupt Tihar jail. And he is also known as a bikini killer, as few of his victims were found killed wearing a bikini, and he killed 12 by strangulation and poisoning. And apart from these all, many other cases which have been reported from the abroad also, that clearly reflects psychopathic traits, that is Jack the Ripper, John Wayne Gacy, Zodiac Killer, Son of Sam, and all this. In above mentioned cases, there is no a single case which specifies the disease as ASPD, but as per the diagnosis, the accused persons have the clear traits of psychopathy and ASPD. Now we have a clear-cut portraying of this ASPD in the film also, and we have a film character that clearly portrays this disorder. Is that it's a very famous. I hope you all watched this movie that is created by the great American filmmaker Christopher Nolan. And character Joker is an iconic villain and arch rival of Batman in DC Comics. Recent years, he has been brilliantly portrayed on the big screen by the late Heath Ledger in the Christopher Nolan's movie The Dark Knight. The behavioral traits which Heath shows here in the film are very consistent with psychopathy. So at one point in The Dark Knight, the Joker asks, "Do I really look like a guy with a plan?" So in fact, the Joker did ironically, it was to create a social disruption and chaos of his own amusement. And we have several treatments for the ASPD. Is that there is actually there is not a set treatment for ASPD, but therapies such as medication or psychotherapy may help control specific behaviors. Though studies suggest the symptoms of ASPD are worst around ages 24 to 44. We have several treatments like psychotherapy, pharmacotherapy, and cognitive behavior. Psychotherapy means self-help groups have been more useful than jails in elevating the disorder. And pharmacotherapy, we can give mood stabilizers, atypical antipsychotics, and antidepressants. Then medications. Medications always help the people who are having aggressions and mood disorders and all. And cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of counseling that focuses on changing a person's thinking and behavior. If this therapy is for ASPD, may help people think about how their behavior affects others. And prevention, and this ASPD can be prevented from childhood onwards by a proper parenting. Antisocial behavior is a major problem in childhood and beyond. More severe persistent forms affects 5% to 10% of children in developed in Western countries. A major risk factor is parenting style, in the particular harsh and inconsistent parenting, which research has shown in associated with the child behavior problems. And other factors that feed into is directly and indirectly include domestic violence, parental drug abuse, marital depression, family poverty, parents with low education, stressed family, and single parent status, etc. and all. And previous research has suggested some of the parenting behaviors that can be improve or exacerbate children's behavior problems. And from this, I could give a conclusion that this antisocial behavior can be reduced by preventing from childhood onwards. And hereby, I just want to conclude my work by pointing out my only aim was to make aware of public about this antisocial personality disorder, and it's a very dangerous disease, by the way. And psychopathic behavior is an undefined area in our judicial system. The system should be taken by our legal system to educate the public and government about this disorder. So, up to extent we can reduce all these cases of serial killing and crimes by proper parenting, teaching, and guidance. From this, I used to conclude my words, and thank you so much for listening my short presentation. I hope you guys understood my topic, and it's a very relevant topic in nowadays. And we have a lot more film characters in South India too. Nowadays, films are always been choosing the characters which is antisocial. Thank you so much, and stay safe.
Thank you, dear. Do we have any questions from the audience? Any question? No? Okay. Then I will conclude. Dear Nisha, you described beautifully about antisocial personality disorder, psychological conditions. Congratulations, dear. Wonderful paper presentation.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
ma'am.
dear.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Are you there, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Is it over, ma'am? Your session?
Yes, so
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, my sincere thanks to you, ma'am, and to all your speakers. We had a
thank you
great
very
session.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
ma'am. It has been a great pleasure to have you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.